And one of the things we've been emphasizing is abundant leadership, abundant mentality. The abundant mentality is a mentality that helps us to appreciate that God has gifted us with many things and to look at the resources God has given us, the gifts that God has given us, to be able to work within the means and be able to make it better. And also part of what we've been talking about is servant leadership. And servant leadership starts with Jesus. We learn from Jesus and see how he modeled it out while his disciples. He washed the feet. He told parables about how to be humble, how to do things better. And we think that many of us as Christians need to gain back to the reference of what Christ wants us to be in our way of doing things. And we also talked about an opportunity for us to learn from the asset-based ABC model, which opens up the opportunity of the things that we have and how we can use them to be better. But in all this, part of the biggest change is the mindset change. And we know for us as a church, we're talking about be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And we believe that a mindset change is a mentality that we all need to appreciate that God has gifted us, God has blessed us, God has given us many things. But sometimes we want to look at what we don't have. Sometimes we want to look at the failures, blame ourselves, blame others, point fingers. And that sometimes is not helpful at all. So if you are an individual, if you're growing, you need to look at what can I do better? How can I make things work out for the better? Ask yourself questions. What are the things that I'm not doing well? How can I grow better? How can I make teams and they purport us? How can this ministry be able to empower us? Now, for the young people who we have been working with, is try and see that young youth in Uganda are the majority, but also want to see them empowered. We want to see them have a mentality of saying, I have something that I can start with. I can do better. If I have little, what is it that I can do? What can I learn from Jesus? Because we know that young people have an influence, have a life ahead of them. How can they be better? How can they grow? How can they use their families, work with friends, learn from their family, learn from the mentors? And they talk about having mentors, having coaches, having spiritual guides who help them to look at life in a different way. Sometimes life is meaningless because they are looking at disappointment, they're looking at what they don't have, looking at people who have given them words of discouragement. Yet actually, if we looked at the good things that God has given us, looked at the opportunities that we have, looked at how we can be better, everybody has an opportunity to grow and be a person that God wants to be. So our prayer is that this will be igniting a lot of people to think differently, to appreciate that, at my workplace, in the school I am in, as a leader at my home, in my family, I can add something, I can do differently. And we think this model actually is a model that has been tested, tried, and people are working in communities, working in different organizations, and saying we can be different, we can change our mindset. And we realize that actually mindset change is a big difference.
This program will be very impactful if we can have people like the Reverend Richard and Dr. Doreen who are going to teach. If we can become those people that now, like I've learned now, I get back to my area and teach, I get back to my church, I get back to my circles and impact them. When I impact the one person, the other one person will also impact another person, and this is going to be transformation. This is going to be something that it is a movement that is going to cover everyone all together.
No, we can take it together.